We got a great show for you today, unless you're a realist. Unless you're that kind of guy who says to himself, oh, yeah, I want the New York Giants to win the Super Bowl this year. I think the New York Giants can go to Minnesota and they can beat the Minnesota Vikings, and I'm rooting for it, and I'm going to talk myself into a lather, and I'm going to go to bed tonight believing that on Sunday afternoon, the New York Giants are going to beat the Vikings and advance to a second-round matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles. The problem with that is that's not keeping it real. Good afternoon, Evan. How are you today, kid?
Huh.
Ha. Ha. Ha 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 ha. You got to be a realist.
What's
Gotta
going
be
on
objective.
here? Are you revealing to us on this beautiful football Friday, the first playoff football Friday in New York in 6 years, that maybe you've come to the dark side?
Not to the dark side. I'm not going to make my prediction on this game.
It sounds like your prediction is obvious.
No, it's not obvious. That's the rub here. That's the beauty and genius of me.
Okay.
All I'm saying is you can't make it. I mean, you can do whatever you want, obviously, but you can't make a declaration that, there's no way the Giants lose this game. Minnesota can't beat the Giants. And boy, I'm hearing a lot of that, and that is the typical broadcast on WFAN for every single show since this radio station began, when we are 48 hours away from a playoff game and everyone's doing their last show, most of us, prior to the game. Because everybody makes a pick. Because ultimately, the listeners, the wonderful listeners of this radio station, want to know and want you to put your money where your mouth is. Who are you picking in the game?
Right.
That way on Monday, we can keep receipts.
Of course.
And I've lived that now because apparently the Chargers kept the receipt of something I said about them earlier this year.
Oh, really?
Unbeknownst to me. Unbeknownst to me.
Sometimes we don't even know the receipts that we're putting out there.
I'm in the LA Chargers hype video. That's something I don't even remember saying.
First of all, I'm proud of the Chargers for even having a hype video, so that's cool.
Yeah, and I've been on them like a rock star. That being said, the New York Giants are good enough to beat the Vikings. Check the box. Yeah, sure, why not? The New York Giants are very well coached. Check the box. Yeah, sure, why not? But when you blindly say, and I've heard it all day today, that the New York Giants are going to win, you're not taking account at all of the fact that the Minnesota Vikings are showing up. Like, you're not showing up against a faceless, nameless opponent. You're showing up against a wide receiver that on Christmas Eve hit you for 12 catches, $150, and a touchdown. Right?
Right.
I mean, I didn't miss that. That happened, right? Mm-hmm. Now.
And a tight end who destroyed you, too.
Yeah,
we know the Giants'
right?
issues this season. And really, it seems like for the last decade, it's not like a new issue of covering tight ends. T.J. Hawkinson was huge in that game.
Now, Dalvin Cook has not had a great year, nor is their running game combined, but they got the guy there. And I can concoct a way that the Giants absolutely could win this game.
I think you can concoct a way of this game going in any direction you want.
I agree, 100%. But I cannot come out and say with great confidence, Giants got this one, because the Giants aren't that team. Very well coached, solid quarterback play, a stud running back, defense absolutely healthier than they were 3 weeks ago.
Right.
Pass rush against what is now a weaker offensive line. I love all of it. But I can't come here today and tell you with any great confidence that this is an easy game. This is a lock for the Giants.
This game,
you got to be crazy.
This game, and I think this is what makes it one of the most appealing games of the weekend, is an evenly matched game.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, they're similar. At least by this way, they're similar. The New York Giants, a lot has been made about the Vikings and that they have a negative point differential. It's been like a big deal. Hey, they got a negative point differential. Hey, they've won all these close games. And I've always said, you could look at that one of two ways. You could say they're lucky or they know how to win close games. The Giants are the same thing.
100%.
Like, the Giants finished this season with a negative point differential.
Look, the Giants
did too, and what really evened that out was destroying the Indianapolis Colts, which was really the only game in which they destroyed their opposition. Similar to Minnesota, they won a ton of close games.
Yep.
So logic tells you we're going to see yet another one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the fair expectation, that this game goes down, final two possessions is going to decide the game one way or the other. I think Could Minnesota blow them out? I guess because they have Justin Jefferson there, but I don't think they will.
Well, they could
and they didn't really blow anybody out.
You know what? You can make an argument for anything. Like,
Sure.
how could the Giants get blown out? I'll tell you how. Daniel Jones came very close to throwing an interception early in the Indianapolis game. It was dropped. Maybe Patrick Peterson doesn't drop one. Maybe special teams, which would be my biggest concern in this game, because the Giants' specials all year has been up and down.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like we learned in 2002, when you have bad special teams all year and you sign a long snapper days before a playoff game, bad crap happens.
Yep.
So there are ways where things can go really, really bad and the Giants are going to lose badly. I'm not predicting that.
Neither am I.
But the point is, when you sit here a day or two before a playoff game, you can try to manipulate this to however the hell you want. The Giants are going to beat them? Yeah, this is how they do it. Giants are going to get their ass kicked? Yeah, this is how they're going to do it. I look at this game as an evenly matched game.
I think that is a fair, honest way to look at it. The Giants absolutely can win this game, but so can the Vikings. And sometimes we get a little jaded here in our coverage of a game, and we forget that the other team is going to show up. We forget that the game happens to be in their building. We forget the fact that they won 13 games. We forget the fact that they're 11-0 in one-score games, right? The Giants are 8-4 in one-score games. Like, it's going to be a battle. It is not going to be a 30-3 game either way. This game is going to be up for grabs with 5 minutes to go. And then it comes down to, of course, coaching, execution, timeouts, whatever you want.
I think a lot of this is because they only played 3 weeks ago. It's fresh in our memory, Christmas Eve. And remember a lot from that game. And so there's this belief sometimes that everything that happened on December 24th, well, it's going to happen again.
Yeah,
that's not necessarily true.
And Minnesota wasn't really even playing for anything. They'd already clinched the playoff berth.
Well, I don't want to minimize that. That's not fair.
They were alive to maybe move up, depending on what the Eagles did. Obviously,
but I
San Fran. But
I don't think it's fair to minimize the effort of Minnesota. But you may see something completely different in this game. Like Wink Martindale blitzes more than anybody else, and Kirk Cousins actually handled the blitz real well. Will Wink Martindale throw us this incredible wrinkle where we see them blitz a lot less than normal?
Yeah.
Mainly because they may be able to get the quarterback without sending extra guys. They didn't design a lot of runs for Daniel Jones in that game against the Vikings 3 weeks ago. Kind of odd, right?
Sure.
Daniel's been great with his legs, and the Vikings have struggled against mobile quarterbacks all season long.
Right.
So I think the offensive game plan has a chance to be incredibly different. But I think what we do sometimes is we look at a game that was very close. The Giants made a few mistakes, the blocked punt, the 2 turnovers, and they lost on a 60-yard field goal.
Right.
So it's easy to say, well, hey, clean that crap up, you blow them out.
Absolutely. Well, clean that crap up. It's not as close a game. Right. I'm with you on that. I'm just excited for it. It's going to be my kind of game, not your kind of game. Although you have no rooting interest in it because you're not a Giants fan. I'm just excited because when you start looking at the games this weekend, I mean, if you go by chalk, or at least go by what most people I think were on the same page predicting-wise, the Dolphins are going to get blown out by the Bills. That game should not be close. Mm-hmm. I think the Ravens-Bengals game will be closer than what most people think, but I don't think it's going to be a big surprise who wins the game. I just think it'll be closer. This is really the game. Obviously, Monday night's the game for everybody.
Set that aside because it's Monday night. But
this is the game.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's the most appealing game of the weekend.
Yeah, I think it's the best game of the weekend. Obviously, Tampa-Dallas Monday night's going to be ridiculous. It'll be the most watched playoff game, not the Super Bowl.
You know what I love,
awesome.
though? You talk about how when we get close to a playoff game in this town, we all get the pom-poms. The one thing that I haven't heard this week that I'm proud of, I'm glad I didn't hear it because it pisses me off.
Go ahead.
And I would have called it out.
Yeah.
Is this idea of it's house money. We're
No,
just
I hate
happy
that.
to be here. Who thought the Giants would make the playoffs?
The Giants are playing for a Super Bowl right now. How's that house money?
Everything's changed.
Right.
Like, seriously, the expectations for this football team have completely changed. Look, none of us thought the Giants were going to be a playoff team coming into this year. Not a one. Not even Paul Dottino, who always sees sunshine. No one thought this would be a playoff team.
Who's that?
Paul Dottino?
Yeah.
It's P-Dot. He's a great Paul Dottino. Covers the Giants
Oh, okay.
for a million years.
Was he a Giant fan?
He says he's a Giant historian, but he's a Giant fan.
All right, all good. I don't know who he is, but sounds good.
No one expected this, but that
Sure, he's a
doesn't
great guy.
mean-
I hope he wins.
Yeah, he's a very good guy. I've heard legendary stories about how into the Giants he is.
Does he have a Giant tattoo on his junk?
There's a rumor that he does, yes.
All right, my kind of guy.
I can't confirm that.
All right, fair enough.
But
There's
that's
only
a
one way
rumor.
to confirm it, obviously.
But even he didn't see this as a playoff year. What do you want to do? You're going to ask him to pull his pants down?
Well, I mean, you just go into the sales office, put your pants down, and run around. There's nobody there.
Ask him to do it. See if he does it.
I don't know him.
He's a good guy.
By the way, I'm sure he's a great guy.
P. Dot.
Yeah, is that his nickname, P. Dot?
That's what Joe and I called him.
All right, P. Dot. What's up, P. Dot? There you go. Is he on the Mike Schmelk pregame show?
John Schmelk.
Chris
Yes,
Schmelk?
yes, he is.
John
Yes.
Schmelk?
Yes, he is.
does
Oh,
the
then
giant.
I know who he is.
Yeah, you know who he is.
Yeah, I like that guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, he's the guy they go to. He's like a bit of a homer. Is that fair?
I didn't say it, but
I'm
okay.
not- is that kind of like his thing, right?
Yeah,
I like
as
that
Devin
guy.
said, he tends to be a bit positive.
No, I like that guy. I love the Giant
You know what-
pregame show.
you know,
I listen to it all the time.
I-
Fiegels and
Fiegels is gone.
Tatino and Schmelke. Yeah. I
What
love
about the
those
other
guys.
guy? Madison.
Who's that?
The other guy.
I apologize. Is there another guy?
There's
Well,
another
Jonathan Casillas
No,
is doing
no.
it for
Lance Meadows. Lance Meadows.
I like that guy too.
Yeah, he's good. I like
Yeah.
Meadows.
Wait, who's the host of that show? I like the
Lance
host
Meadows.
a lot.
Lance Meadows.
Yeah, Lance
Meadows.
Meadows is the guy I like a lot.
He's the host.
Not that I don't like those guys. I like all of them. That is as good a pregame show on radio.
When we were at Giant Camp, you missed it because, you're bougie. Paul Dottino cornered me, and he put his arm around me, and he said, Evan, no one's going to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you this.
Yeah.
I said, what do you got, Paul? And he didn't have the balls to say playoffs, but he said, they're going to be a lot better than people think.
There you go.
The problem is, Paul says that to me
Every year.
But this
I got
year,
it.
he was right. This year it happened, but
Wow.
not a one Giant fan, and I like this. Not a one. I haven't heard anybody say, hey, I'm just happy to be here. There's no pressure. It's a house money game. BS. Everything changes. The expectations change. And Brian Daboll, to his credit, has changed the bar. You go into this game on Sunday, you know where you really believe you have an edge? At the coaching position. You believe that this head coach
That's not fair.
will not be outcoached.
Yeah, it's
you
not fair,
believe
though.
that this head coach knows exactly why is that unfair?
Because it's discounting what the Vikings have accomplished this year.
Excuse me, what has Kevin O'Connell done in his NFL coaching career?
I don't know. He's won 13 games, and they are 11-0 in one-score games.
No, I get that, but
What's
that's
Brian Daboll done?
Virtually the same thing. They're in the playoffs.
So if we're gonna,
No,
as
the same
rightfully
thing.
so, if we're gonna acknowledge the great job Daboll did, as we should, he's done a great job. Kevin O'Connell's had a great year.
I'm not questioning that, but is Kevin
You
O'Connell
just said,
coached?
what has he done?
No. It's not like he's got this long resume. It's not like it's Brian Daboll versus Andy Reid. It's not like it's Brian Daboll versus Mike McCarthy. As much as you guys disrespect
O'Connell's
him.
the first-year head coach
Exactly.
in Minnesota, like
That's
Daboll's the first-year head coach here.
That's my point.
No, that was not
And
your
who's
point.
done more with what?
You're attacking O'Connell like he
No,
hasn't
I'm not.
accomplished anything.
I'm saying that Giant
that
fans
guy had a
believe-
better year than Daboll did.
I disagree with that.
He won 13 games.
Yeah,
This game isn't at MetLife. It's in Minnesota.
Kevin O'Connell also came in with talent, came in with expectations, came in with a roster. Brian Daboll came in with a roster that the GM admitted was not even going to be any good.
I'm not.
Who's done a better job
You're
this
putting
year?
me in a spot where it sounds like I'm criticizing Daboll. I'm not. Brian Daboll and Doug Peterson are the two
You're
obvious
putting
favorites
me in a spot
for
where I've
coaches
got,
of the year.
You're putting me in a spot
Yeah.
where I'm criticizing Kevin O'Connell.
Which
I'm
is
not.
stupid.
I'm not.
You
I'm-
just did.
I'm saying that Brian
You said,
Daboll.
your words, not mine. We can play the tape back for you. You said, what has Kevin O'Connell accomplished?
What I mean is he's never coached a playoff game. When
Neither
he's
is
out-
Brian Daboll.
Exactly. So from that standpoint, they're the same.
I agree with
Who do you have more confidence in on Sunday?
Listen, I don't follow the Vikings the way a fan would or the way I follow the Giants.
you've watched
here
Brian
in New
Daboll.
York. I think Brian Daboll is as competent a game day coach as any coach in the
Okay,
league.
so has there been a game this season
Go ahead, sir.
in which you walked away from it and said, because I did this with Joe Judge, you did it with Joe Judge.
Yes.
I did this with Pat Shurmur. You would have done it with Pat Shurmur. I did it with Ben McAdoo. You did it with Ben McAdoo. Has there been any game this season where you walked away and said, you know what? They were outcoached.
No, I've never felt that way.
Not a one.
And even when they went 1-4-1 in that 6-game span, it was not because of coaching.
Not a one. When they got destroyed by the Philadelphia Eagles, I think we all looked at them and said, they're better. There were some things we questioned. There's always going to be things you question. So Brian Daboll has earned the trust of Giant fans where, yeah, you go into this game on Sunday and you go position by position, roster area versus roster area. Where do you have an edge? I think you all feel like you have an edge at coach. And
You're
it's not
wrong,
a
though.
knock on Kevin O'Connell.
Of course it
it's
is.
a compliment to what Daboll's accomplished in 1 year.
Yeah, but it's both, really.
Why?
If you're saying that a guy that's got, how many wins did the Giants have this year?
9.
That a 9-win team has a better coach than a 13-win team, by default, you're taking a shot at the other coach.
Doesn't stop everyone on the planet from ripping Mike McCarthy.
By the way,
just because
you and I are in lockstep on that. I've always been supportive of
win
McCarthy.
the most games doesn't make you the better coach.
And by the way, because you criticize I'm saying in general, just because you criticize McCarthy doesn't mean you're right.
No, I agree. And I'm not knocking Kevin O'Connell more than I'm saying he's coaching his first playoff game on Sunday. For all the playoff advantages the Vikings may have and the experience that they have, they don't have it in the coach's room.
Right.
And if you want to cite being an OC, Daboll's got that too.
Yeah, and I want to tell you how things change. I was looking at a Chicago Bears Reddit account earlier today, and this is a year ago, because now Brian Daboll's a legitimate Coach of the Year candidate. To me, it's either him or Doug Peterson, right? And there was some thought that before the Chicago Bears hired Matt Eberflus, they were talking to Brian Daboll, right? I'm just going to read this to you real quick. Shows you how people get things wrong, all right? Daboll's offense has been embarrassing the past few weeks. Bills haven't handed the ball off through an entire half. Their entire fan base wants him fired. This is not the dude by any means. If he can't do it with Allen and Diggs, he can't do it with Fields and Mooney. We'd be so disappointed if Daboll's the hire. Oops.
Because Daboll didn't do it with Fields and Mooney. He didn't do it with Josh Allen and Diggs. He's doing it with receivers named Richie James and Isaiah Hodgins.
Hodgins is my guy.
I don't mean to knock either guy, but that's my point. Brian Daboll has done a brilliant
he's done
job.
a great job.
And if they lose this game on Sunday, and there's a lot of ways they could lose this game, you know how they're not going to lose this game? Coaching.
No, I agree. I don't think Minnesota would lose it because of a Kevin O'Connell coaching mistake either. I think it's going to be the obvious. Do the Giants get a lot of pressure on Cousins? He has shown career-wise he is more than happy to throw interceptions when under pressure. So that's obviously a key part of the game. And I will acknowledge the Giants are healthier than they were on December 24th.
Yeah, but
across the board healthier, especially on defense.
The question with health is this. There are guys who are going to play football on Sunday who wouldn't play football if it was week 15. Is that a fair statement?
Oh, yeah, I'm with you.
Of course. Guys are going to say it's the playoffs. I'm pushing myself back.
Sure.
And the Vikings are going to deal with this too. Garrett Bradbury is their center.
Yeah.
How healthy is he?
And
I have no idea.
And he's their backup center.
Right, but he's going to push himself to play.
Yes.
So the real question with the Giants is Adoree Jackson. They missed him. He hasn't played since the Lion game, which was a month ago.
Right.
Who is and where is he health-wise? It's great that he's playing, and it's awesome that he's playing. And every Giant fan's going to appreciate that because it means he's out there. It means he's on the field. It means it gives you a chance against some elite-level wide receivers. But the question, and it's a fair one, is what is he?
Now, here's what's interesting. The guys, you may have heard noise in my ear. The guys are just saying in my ear that the New York Giants have just released their injury report for the playoff game. Adoree Jackson is not on it. Still, to your point,
he's playing.
I don't think the expectation is that he plays every snap, but Adoree Jackson is not on the injury report. Xavier's not on it. They are injury-free on both sides of the ball.
The Giants
there's
right
not
now.
a name on the injury report. The injury report is blank.
The Giants right now, and this is what you have to love going into Sunday, are the healthiest they have been all season long. Plus, they have a handful of guys coming off a bye week. Saquon Barkley is coming off a bye week. And I remember how he came off of a bye week earlier this season. He touched the ball 35 times and ran it down the Texans' throats. So you have a fresh Saquon Barkley. You have a quarterback coming off a bye. I'm just asking because none of us know. Getting Adoree Jackson back is monstrous. But what is he health-wise?
Well, we're going to find out. We get all your calls. It's a Giant Playoff Friday, and this either continues on Monday and throughout all of next week, or this is the last Football Friday of the year when it comes to the locals. Fingers crossed. I want the Giants to win. Are we going to pick the Giants to win? Well, for those of you that care about that, that won't come until much later in the program. At some point, we will announce our picks. The guys will do their picks against the spread at 6 o'clock, but we'll give you a thought of the game regardless of the spread. Can and will the New York Giants beat the Minnesota Vikings? Dun, 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 dun. Oh, I love this time of year. It'd be really fun if our team was ever in it. I have no idea what that's like, even I forgot.
Oh, my God.
It's been so long. I forget what it's like to have a team in the playoffs.
In fairness, I forgot what it was like to even have the Giants in the playoffs, and here we are 6 years later.
Yeah.
They're here. Like, the idea of a football Friday, just think about this for a second and put our Jet fandom aside because, they're not there. The idea that we are entering a football Friday wild card weekend and a New York team is playing
It's awesome.
is foreign. The last time that happened, you know what we were talking about on a Football Friday? You were here. You know, a boat trip.
Yes.
We were talking about the receivers going on a boat. We were talking about Eli Manning having one last run. Little did we know what would happen. A drop early by Odell. What?
We had no idea what was going to happen.
Who's that?
I remember doing a rap song about, we're on a boat, baby.
Did you?
Yeah, I did a little T-Pain for everybody. Yeah. Going to the farm, gonna get my goat. Gonna go down to Florida and be in a boat.
Can you find that rap song somewhere? I'd love to hear
I'm
it.
sure it's in the annals here somewhere. It was called On a Boat, Baby. That was the name of the rap song.
On a boat, baby.
Speaking of rap songs, the last time the Giants were in the playoffs, we had a local, what's the kid's name? I forgot his name and I apologize.
Joe.
Joe, my main man Joe, laid out a strong rap encompassing all the players on the Giants and their attempt to go win a Super Bowl, right?
Right.
Well, for the first time in a decade, Rappin' Joe is back
Really?
with a 2023 updated edition of a New York Giant rap song. And I'm going to play it for you, okay?
Nice.
And you'll have a chance to like it or spike it online coming up in just a little bit.